Friends, you already know that long before humans built cities and machines, the Earth was home to animals that no longer exist today. Some disappeared thousands of years ago. Others vanished much more recently, so recently that cameras were already there to capture their final moments. When photography was invented in the 1800s, it changed the way humans documented life forever. For the first time in history, we could preserve real images of living creatures, not drawings, not paintings, but undeniable proof that these animals once walked the earth. And that's what makes today's video different. Because this time, we're not talking about fossils or ancient legends. We're looking at the last real photographs ever taken of extinct animals, creatures that were alive just decades ago, animals that shared this planet with us, and then quietly disappeared. Today, I'll show you the final known photos of 8 extinct animals and the human decisions that led to their disappearance. Let's begin. Number 8. The quagga. At first glance, the quagga looked like a strange mix between a horse and a zebra. But in reality, it was a subspecies of the plains zebra found only in South Africa. What made the quagga unique was its appearance. Unlike modern zebras covered in stripes from head to tail, the quagga had stripes only on the front half of its body. Its back and legs were mostly plain brown, giving it a completely different look. For centuries, quaggas lived peacefully across the open grasslands of South Africa. But everything changed in the 1800s. As European settlers expanded deeper into African territory, quaggas were hunted heavily for their meat and hides. Farmers also viewed them as competitors for grazing land. Hunting became uncontrolled and excessive. By the time people realized their numbers were collapsing, it was already too late. The last known quagga died in 1883 at the Amsterdam Zoo in the Netherlands. And the image you see on screen is believed to be one of the final photographs ever taken of a living quagga. After its death, zoos attempted to acquire another, only to discover that humans had already wiped the species out completely. Number 7. The passenger pigeon. Just over a century ago, the skies of North America looked very different. Passenger pigeons once flew in flocks so massive that they literally blocked out the sun. Witnesses described shadows moving across the ground for hours as millions of birds passed overhead. At their peak, passenger pigeons numbered in the billions, but their abundance became their downfall. As human populations grew, people realized these birds were incredibly easy to hunt. They were captured by the thousands, sold cheaply, and eaten daily. Entire flocks were wiped out at once. Despite clear warning signs, hunting continued relentlessly. By the early 1900s, the skies had gone silent. The final passenger pigeon was a female named Martha, kept at the Cincinnati Zoo in the United States. On September 1st, 1914, Martha died, and with her, the species vanished forever. The photograph shown here is one of the last real images of a living passenger pigeon. An animal that once dominated the skies, reduced to a single bird in a cage. Number 6. The Tasmanian tiger, thylacine. Despite its name, the Tasmanian tiger was neither a tiger nor a wolf. Scientifically known as the thylacine, it was a carnivorous marsupial, meaning its young developed inside a pouch. Native to Australia and Tasmania, the thylacine had a distinctive appearance, a stiff tail, powerful jaws, and dark stripes across its back. Thousands of years ago, thylacines disappeared from mainland Australia, largely due to competition with dingoes introduced by humans. But in Tasmania, they survived much longer. Unfortunately, fear and misunderstanding sealed their fate. Farmers believed thylacines were killing livestock, even though evidence was limited. In response, the Tasmanian government offered bounties for dead thylacines. They were hunted relentlessly. By the early 1900s, only a handful remained. The final known thylacine was a female kept at the Hobart Zoo. In 1936, she died after being accidentally locked out of her shelter overnight. The footage and photographs of her pacing inside the enclosure are among the last visual records of a living thylacine. A species destroyed, not by nature, but by fear and policy. Number 5. The Carolina parakeet. The Carolina parakeet was once one of the most colorful birds in North America. Bright green feathers, a yellow head, and flashes of orange made it impossible to miss. These parrots lived throughout the forests of the southeastern United States and fed mainly on fruits and seeds. Interestingly, they often consumed toxic seeds, which made the birds themselves poisonous to predators. But predators weren't the problem. Fashion was. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, bird feathers became extremely popular in women's hats and clothing. Carolina parakeets were slaughtered in massive numbers purely for decoration. At the same time, farmers killed them for feeding on crops. Habitat destruction finished the job. By the early 1900s, their population collapsed. The final Carolina parakeet died in 1918, shockingly, in the same zoo complex that housed the last passenger pigeon. The photo shown here is one of the last images ever taken of a living Carolina parakeet. 2 species, 1 cage, 1 cause, humans. Number 4, the great auk. The great auk was often called the penguin of the north. Standing nearly 3 feet tall, this flightless seabird lived along the rocky coasts of the North Atlantic. It had a glossy black back, a white belly, and exceptional swimming abilities. But unlike penguins, great auks lived alongside humans, and that proved fatal. They were hunted for meat, oil, and feathers. Sailors captured them easily, as they were unable to fly. By the mid-1800s, great auks survived only on a few remote islands. In 1844, the last known breeding pair was killed on a small island off the coast of Iceland. The photographs and illustrations from the final decades of their existence are among the last visual records of the species. An animal perfectly adapted to the ocean, wiped out on land. Number 3, the Japanese sea lion. The Japanese sea lion once lived along the coasts of Japan, Korea, and parts of Russia. These large marine mammals hauled themselves onto rocky shores to rest and breed. As human populations expanded, they became targets. They were hunted for oil, skins, and meat, while fishing industries and coastal development destroyed their habitats. By the early 20th century, sightings became increasingly rare. The last confirmed Japanese sea lion was seen in the 1950s. The photographs taken during their final decades show animals already reduced in number, often surrounded by humans. Today, the Japanese sea lion is officially extinct, and those old images are the only proof it ever existed. Number 2, the golden toad. Don't confuse this one with a frog. The golden toad was a bright orange amphibian found only in the cloud forests of Costa Rica. First discovered in 1966, it quickly became famous for its striking color, but its population was always small. In the 1980s, scientists noticed something alarming. Surveys revealed fewer than 20 golden toads remaining, then fewer, then just 1. The cause was a deadly fungal disease known as chytrid fungus, which attacks amphibian skin. Since amphibians breathe partially through their skin, the disease was devastating. By 1989, the last confirmed golden toad was seen. In 2004, the species was officially declared extinct. The photograph showing a group of golden toads is believed to be one of the final images ever taken of the species. Bright, beautiful, gone. Number 1, the Beiji River dolphin. Our final animal disappeared not in the distant past, but in our own lifetime. The Beiji, also known as the Yangtze River dolphin, lived only in China's Yangtze River. It had a pale gray body and a long, narrow snout, perfectly adapted to murky freshwater. As China rapidly industrialized, the river became crowded with ships, polluted water, and fishing equipment. The Beiji never stood a chance. In 2006, an international survey failed to locate a single individual. The species was declared functionally extinct. The photographs and videos from its final decades showed dolphins swimming through increasingly polluted waters, unaware they were nearing the end. These images are now the last known visual records of a living Beiji, the first dolphin species driven to extinction by humans in modern times. Every animal in this video once lived, breathed, and moved through the same world we do. They weren't myths. They weren't ancient legends. They were real. And thanks to photography, we can still look into their eyes, even after they're gone. These final images aren't just pictures, they're warnings. Because extinction doesn't always happen suddenly. Sometimes it happens slowly, quietly, right in front of us. If you found this video informative, take a moment to remember these animals. Because once a species is gone, no photo, no video, and no regret can ever bring it back. Thanks for watching.